A good brand can be worth $50 million, but a great brand is worth beyond $1 billion. For someone who casually makes $131.8 million on a single tour, how is it that Billie Eilish is only worth $50 million? And how did $950 million of business potential go to waste?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish is so messy.
Oh, well, your next album, this. And I was like, I'm not making another album. No way.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify, but more on that later.
Money is a beautiful thing.
If there was one person born to be a billionaire, it must be Billie Eilish.
We really are millionaires. It's just all true things.
Not just because billions is kind of written in her name, but famous at 13, multi-millionaire by 16, 5 Grammys and Forbes 30 under 30 by 18.
Who got the Grammys? Me.
I think it's crazy that we would win again. Again.
Multiple Vogue covers, Met Gala by 20. No big deal.
257,000. 6.3 million.
40.7.
67.5.
94.1 million followers. 106.
But 110.
120 million?
To not leverage this type of unique asset is kind of a disgrace to your lucky girl syndrome.
She sent me an email one time that was, hey, check out this new artist. I'd really like us to work with her because she was working with me for Unsub. And it was a song called Ocean Eyes, and it was just a blonde girl. And I was like, man, boring. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Don't let this hit the internet.
I mean, doesn't everyone have lime green roots? Anything she did since 13 is unpredictable, mysterious, alluring, and profitable.
Is that million?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Any anti-trend she takes becomes a new aesthetic. Any song she writes becomes the Billboard spot holder for the season.
Now I am the most streamed artist in the world on Spotify.
But there is a problem. That's my laundry being done. Even the most perfect brand with $1 billion potential can crumble because what creates $50 million can destroy more than just $50 million.
Stop.
I've had enough of her shit.
So marketing babe. Actually, I do want to know that the business of Billie Eilish is much smaller than I thought, which inspired this whole video. Because with her streaming numbers and her influence, I thought she must have passed the $100 million mark already. According to sources, Taylor Swift was already worth around $86 million around the 10-year career mark, not adjusted for inflation. After adjustment to inflation, it's already $114 million. And Kylie Jenner kind of became a billionaire at 21, then didn't. But if you adjust her corrected net worth to inflation, again, she kind of was a billionaire in today's dollars. And listen, Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson, was estimated a net worth of $500 million, 10 times of Billie Eilish. I'm not saying you should compare the two. I'm not saying Billie Eilish should create a YouTube enterprise or do a game show deal with Amazon Prime. What I'm saying is that there might be some inefficiencies in Billie Eilish's business model and small cracks in her branding that is hiding her from her full potential. For those who are like, Zoe, it's not about the money, it's about the art. I agree, but given how successful Billie Eilish is as an artist, I want to break down the business components to understand why is it that her $1 billion brand is only at $50 million right now. It just doesn't make sense, meaning there's 95% of potential being wasted right now. The real girl math. As your marketing bestie who graduated top 1% UCLA Business Economics with a background in marketing, we are going to explore how a $50 million brand can still fail you even if you have the greatest talent and insane lucky girl syndrome, because no brand is impeccable.
Billie Eilish is an industry plant.
Product of wealth and nepotism.
Accused of queer baiting.
Now, why is this even relevant to you? Other than the fact that you contributed to the 45 billion streams of Billie Eilish, Zoe, or shed a tear at Miss Billie Eilish's concert, Zoe. Well, you may see yourself one way, but how does your dream college, dream job, dream boyfriend see you? That's the importance of brand, and yes, Do you have one? I'm creating this series to analyze pop culture brands from a marketing perspective because I want all of us to unlock the potential to either be or create a brand that can change our future. Which includes unlocking financial freedom.
Money is a beautiful thing.
Because let's be real, there's really not much point in being a billionaire if you don't know what to do with that money. And one goal I have for all of us is to get closer to financial freedom and unlock so much more earning potential, especially as women. And men, hi to the 3 men watching this. Just kidding, it's more like 15%. Value is not just about making money, but I like Billie and I respect her as an artist. I think she should be making way more because of the value she has brought to us. Mark my words, she has what it takes to be a billionaire. When I tell you that not many artists have the ability to make people feel something during their life, and Billie did it for me.
It was so good. Oh my god.
I still have goosebumps from the time when I immersed in the world that she crafted and think with the right branding, she can be even more successful. Thus, we will first break down what are her biggest brand missteps that's costing her $950 million of brand potential.
Unfortunately, there's a lot.
Yes, even Billie fumbles the bag. But of course, we are also here to learn the business model that made Billie a household name and how her next pivot could determine whether she remains a market leader or loses market share. And I'll be doing free branding and business expansion thought starters throughout this video because I would love to see more wealth being generated by people with just good hearts who could have positive impacts on this generation of young girls. Actually, you can make an impact too. In fact, you get to decide what future episodes are about. Just fill out the form in the description to join our free email list of trends, insights, deeper dives, and tell me what it is you want to learn in marketing, business, personal finance, whatever you want. If you don't put it down, I won't know about it. And I want this series to be as valuable to you as possible. Thus, I'm going to extend the episodes, dive into deeper business topics, and potentially have guests on. You'll see. Watch me get Billie Eilish on the show one day. I don't know how it will happen, but it will happen as more of you support, share, and give the show a 5-star rating. So if you want to give value back, simply give the show a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify and share it with someone you love, because the greatest gift you can give to someone is the power to succeed. And sharing the episode is completely free to you. But what is not free is knowledge debt. What does that mean? What you don't know might be costing you a lot of money.
Oh my god,
Quote, Billie Eilish is essentially making $1 million just for breathing. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But when I took a look at Billie Eilish's business, I noticed something very bizarre. The math is not mathing. Before we even go through the eras of Billie Eilish to understand what were the traps costing her $950 million from her billion-dollar brand.
Okay, I have a really weird question.
The question that keeps you up at night is, how does the Billie Eilish brand make money? Before I break down the 6 ways Billie Eilish prints but also loses money, want to know what you could be doing to amplify your earning potential? That business idea you had since middle school to create a dream brand you can call your own might be easier to start than you thought. Our partner today, Shopify, wants you to build that future. Shopify is a powerful set of tools that helps you start and manage your business, whether in person or online. It is designed to make life easier for entrepreneurs. From beginners to billion-dollar big brands like Skims, Gymshark, Kylie Cosmetics, by providing tools that simplify selling. For example, you don't need a complicated system to sell out $60 million of perfume like Billie Eilish. It can be done on Shopify. With Shopify, you can sell on social media. Simply drag and drop to create your store, manage your operations, and even collaborate with other brands. Imagine having a digital assistant that helps you sell your products seamlessly. Shopify is just that for your business. So start your dream brand today with a few clicks, drags and drops with Shopify for free by visiting shopify.com/Zoe Unlimited. And now you know how you can amplify your earning. Let's dive into how Billie Eilish can 20x her her business. She's actually done very well in diversifying her income in 6 ways. First, touring and live performances, supposedly her biggest revenue stream. Her Happier Than Ever tour in 2022 grossed $131.8 million. The math is already not mathing. Didn't I just say her net worth is $50 million? Just wait. There's more. Second, streaming and music sales. Billie gets royalties from streaming, physical albums, and licensing deals. She averages tens of millions of monthly Spotify listeners, generating millions per year in streaming revenue. According to RIAA, Billie has made $47.5 million in digital sales. But wait, there is more. Third way she makes money is through merch and fashion collaborations. Billie's merch sales are insane. Her unique aesthetic has made her brand a streetwear staple. Tons of collabs with Nike, Freak City, Takashi Murakami, and Gucci.
I love you. I love you.
Meaning she's earning license fees and royalties from these partnerships. Fourth, luxury brand endorsements.
Diamonds bullying on my chest, no blouse.
Billie is the face of Gucci, Cartier, and all these high-end brands. High fashion deals pay in the millions and elevate her status as a luxury brand in herself. And that's not all. Fifth, film, TV, documentary deals. Her Apple TV Plus documentary, The World's a Little Blurry, reportedly earned her $25 million upfront. She also gets royalties from her James Bond theme song, No Time to Die, which won her an Oscar and a Grammy. And six, songwriting and publishing. Billie and Phineas write and produce their own music, which means they own their own publishing rights. This ensures long-term earnings from licensing and residuals. Now, all of you smart, business-savvy, hot humans out there must be so uncomfortable right now. This defies the laws of math. I mean, just her touring alone made her $131.8 million in one tour. How the hell is she not a billionaire yet? Moreover, how is she only worth $50 million? Now does it make sense when I say only $50 million? So sit back, relax, and it's time to investigate what is costing Billie Eilish $950 million in her brand. But more importantly, like many of you, Billie Eilish is at a crossroad in her career with two options. First, lean into legacy and become a long-term cultural powerhouse like Rihanna, Beyonce, or Taylor Swift. Second, plateau into irrelevance by losing her unique branding edge. Thus, we must talk about what exactly is her unique edge in creating a very competitive business. Let's take it back to Billie 1.0, the anti-pop star era.
My name is Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
I'm Billie Eilish. I'm looking at all the Frozen years past.
Billie Eilish pirate Baird O'Conwell, say that 3 times, was born in Los Angeles, California on December 18, 2001. Born the daughter of an actress and musician, her and her brother Phineas grew up in homeschooling and were encouraged to explore music. And of course, that came with the Nepo baby accusations, which aren't exactly grounded in facts. Regardless, it's not every day that a 6-year-old begins playing ukulele at 6 and writes a quote-unquote real song at age 11 for her mother's songwriting class. Then a song that blows up the internet by 13. And that song, of course, is Ocean Eyes. Yes, at just 13 years old, Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas began working on songs together and put them on SoundCloud just for fun, never expecting several 100,000 listens in 2 weeks.
I think within about a week it had 1,000 streams, which is not many now, but was a lot then.
Which led to a deal with Apple Music, then a connection to Chanel and a stylist to help shape her image. Then she had her promotions on Beats One, BBC Radio One, and so on. Right off the bat, branding was the backbone of Billie Eilish. To be connected to Chanel and a stylist to curate her image built the perfect brand foundation of building a billion-dollar brand. Not without some missteps, of course. But before the 2 missteps, we have to talk about why was Billie Eilish so addicting with the potential to even build a billion-dollar brand. It might be natural, but don't be mistaken. It's all business strategy broken into 3 components. First, strategic rebellion. Billie's debut was a masterclass in branding, but the kind that felt unintentional. She rejected every pop stereotype at the time. No tight dresses, no hypersexualization, no smiles. In a world where Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift dominated, Billie was the moody outlier Gen Z's clung to.
So, okay, listen, when I was like growing up, I mean, I am 17.
Not to mention that she was just a kid singing incredibly deep lyrics and melodies.
Wrote half of it when I was 13, 14, and then put it out when I was 15, and Phineas was 17, 18, 19. Like young little babies that had no experience at all.
With a distinguishable voice, so different from the vocal powerhouses that people are used to. I remember when I was still a newbie at the gym in college, just slowly easing my way into fitness. There was one day when I was trying to put my max strength into completing a set, and then the gym at UCLA switched the track into a very soft melody of a girl saying something like, "Now I got a bellyache." At first I was like, this is hella annoying. I'm trying to have a powerful workout. But not going to lie, thank you to whoever put that song on, because on my hot girl walk from hill to my classes at UCLA, I was listening to Billie Eilish nonstop. I Don't Want to Be You Anymore, My Boy, and of course, Bad Guy. There was something so alluring from the juxtaposition of an angelic voice and dark themes and vibes. Perfect for angsty teenagers, college students, and anyone feeling non-mainstream.
I'm the bad guy.
And this, in the business sense, created niche domination. Instead of competing with radio-friendly artists, she leaned into moody, lo-fi, genre-blending music, creating a blue ocean strategy where she had no direct competition.
Your music and videos have been streamed 15 billion times. That's you I'm talking about.
A blue ocean strategy, which is also a book I'll link below, is the simultaneous pursuit of differentiation and low cost to open up new market spaces and create new demand. It's about creating and capturing uncontested market space, meaning instead of creating the 11th lemonade stand on your block, you sell champagne. And you can sell that champagne at whatever price you want as long as you hold that monopoly. Pay attention to this because it will become very costly to her brand. But even the best champagne needs good packaging. Hence, her second win in the Billie 1.0 era is fashion as intellectual property. Billie's oversized streetwear heavy aesthetic wasn't just a look, it was a trademarked identity. She turned herself into a walking brand, ensuring her image was distinct, recognizable, and most importantly, ownable. She took control over her image in a way that prevented early over-sexualization, making sure that the narrative was always her own.
What I like about just dressing like I'm 800 sizes bigger than I am kind of gives nobody the opportunity to judge what your body looks like.
With a voice that's instantly recognizable and a look that's instantly recognizable, you yourself have a golden brand. It's unstoppable. One of the smartest things that Billie did, she made herself the logo. With the signature color theory, landing on a key color brand takes trials and experimentation, and Billie Eilish did exactly that. From ash silver to black and green, the neon green and black combo wasn't just a style choice. It was branding psychology. Colors trigger emotions and make brands memorable. Think Tiffany blue, McDonald's red and yellow, and Billie's neon green. Now Charli XCX's acid green and Sabrina Carpenter's baby blue. By sticking to her signature colors in everything from merch to Instagram filters, Billie created a recognizable, ownable aesthetic, which builds the foundation to a billion-dollar brand, right? Stay tuned. But she did understand that the best branding is subconscious. People weren't just listening to her, they were absorbing her aesthetic. So if you're building a brand or trying to level up your own personal brand, think about what subconscious cues are you sending to people? Does your brand align with the brands that you want to work with? Because when you have a brand that brands want to work with, fashion houses like Gucci and Burberry took notice. Because trends that start organically always convert into business. Partnerships from the renowned Japanese artist Takashi Murakami to Adobe Creative Cloud to Calvin Klein, MCM, Chanel, the list goes on.
I speak my truth.
in my Calvins.
It's an important income stream for Billie Eilish on the path to $1 billion. And these were brands that were smart enough to recognize that Billie Eilish was something special. She had the ability to not just be a personal brand, which is bringing these brands higher returns and earned media value and sales, but there's an even better way to do these partnerships with untapped potential to turn this $50 million brand into a $1 billion brand that I will touch on. That untapped potential stems from the competitive advantage she has in her visuals. Billie wasn't just making videos, she was making visual experiences. Dark, haunting, and dreamlike music videos led to consistent brand storytelling. Bad Guy was quirky, surreal, and weirdly unsettling.
I'm the bad guy.
Duh.
Bury a Friend looked like a horror film.
I wanna end me.
And every Billie visual felt like a scene from the same universe. The lesson: consistency is key. Billie built an instantly recognizable world and stuck to it. But it's also a double-edged sword that might be costing her $950 million, as you will see. But something else that she also stuck to that helped make this brand very premium was third, mystique. At the age of 16, singing these elusive lyrics and creating a mystical universe, the entire world was trying to figure this teenager out, but can't.
Who are you?
Billie.
Because Billie knew the power of scarcity marketing. It's the luxury fashion house handbook at play. While blowing up left and right, dominating meme culture with the blush logo that felt cryptic, DIY, and very Gen Z coded, perfect for fan engagement and for merch curation. She played the algorithm instead of allowing the algorithm to play her. Bad Guy wasn't just a song, it was an algorithmic tank.
The response to Bad Guy, I mean, that changed my life. Like, Bad Guy completely changed my life.
The minimalist beat, whisper vocals, and unconventional production made it hyper shareable, with TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube driving unpaid user-generated content. I mean, the music video was so absurd, so witty, so meme-coded. Thus, of course, the stream numbers went up. $47.5 million in digital singles, remember? But still far from billions, meaning it cannot be the only source. Although a long-term branding strategy that will increase her brand by multi-millions is. While she was mastering social media, just like her fashion choices, she never overexposed herself.
I never want the world to know everything about me. I mean, that's why I wear big baggy clothes.
Unlike many other artists, Billie didn't need to be hyperactive on social media. Instead, she let her branding and fan community do the work. She rarely posted personal content, which kept her mysterious and elusive. She engaged just enough to build a cult following, but never overshared to the point of losing intrigue. Her visual choices made her perfect for aesthetic fan edits and TikTok virality. So with all the necessary elements to build a billion-dollar brand, a disruptive visual brand, check. A unique voice and talent, check. Organic storytelling, check. High-value brand associations, check. Major industry backing since 14, check. And a demand higher than supply, check, check. It really seems like there was nothing that could go wrong with this brand. So what is creating this $950 million gap? Well, before we go into Billie 2.0 and get into the math of the missing $950 million, there were some small cracks in the brand that could lead to a shattering fracture later on. Namely, first, the over-reliance on the sad girl economy. Billie wasn't the first artist to capitalize on melancholy as a brand, but she was the first to make it Gen Z specific. Emotional branding equals deep fan loyalty. I mean, Billie wasn't just selling music, she was selling a feeling. The moody whisper vocals, the depressed haunted lyrics.
You're gonna go that dark with this song?
I was like, why don't I turn this into art instead of just living with it?
They weren't just songs, they were aesthetic moods that fans could embody.
You know, you can feel so unbelievably lost and horrible and like you're nothing and you're invisible and for no reason at all.
Gen Z, growing up with mental health issues, social media anxiety, and economic instability, saw themselves in her brand.
Why are your songs so sad? And I remember hearing that and being like, what are we talking about? People seem to forget that when you are a child and a teenager, emotion is the most intense thing in the world. Everything feels like the end or the beginning.
And let's be real, sadness sells. Just look at Lana Del Rey, Olivia Rodrigo, and even Taylor Swift's folklore era. TikTok plus sad girl aesthetic equals viral gold. I mean, look at how Gracie Abrams popped off. Hello? It's not just a sound now, it's a whole aesthetic. But while the emo aesthetic worked, there were two major problems. A, it limits the growth and reinvention. At one point, the sad girl aesthetic will get old. And why do people find Billie Eilish so magnetic in the first place? That she is a wild card, the disruptor. You always find her art refreshing and unexpected. But as the cycle rinses and repeats, it's going to get repetitive, leading to fatigue. And B, it pigeonholed her into a single consumer persona. Quote, in my head, I have her down as music for depressed 13-year-olds, and I don't want to engage further than that really, as we will talk about in her next era. When Billie shifted to old Hollywood glam in 2021, some fans felt betrayed. The backlash, quote, it's called selling out. Quote, last minute attempt at her corrupt and lying way of life. Quote, they got to her. Quote, her persona is pretty forced. And this is the danger of a powerful brand, because anytime an artist wants to try something creatively new and onto another era, they risk falling out of favor with their hardcore audience. As we will talk about the issue with rapid rebrands like Jojo Siwa versus the many lives Taylor Swift lived, but somehow turned into a cohesive brand worth $1.6 billion. But before we touch on the troubling second era of Billie 2.0, there was another small crack in her strong branding that will bite her back harder later. Second, the industry plant and queerbaiting accusations. An industry plan is typically defined as an artist who appears independent but is secretly backed by industry forces. They are presented as DIY or grassroots, but behind the scenes they have powerful teams engineering their success. Well, Billie Eilish fits into this mold a little too well because of her lucky girl syndrome, which wasn't her fault. But the following 5 extremely favorable business circumstances could be perceived the wrong way. A, the overnight success factor.
Stuff was just changing really fast. Things were just like building around me, and I just was like, whoa, what? What is going on?
Billie's first hit, Ocean Eyes, when she was 14, immediately blew up. Unlike most indie artists grinding for years, she had a professional quality release from the start. B, before she was even 15, Billie had signed with Interscope Records, one of the most powerful labels in the world. And C, the Phineas factor, built-in industry access. Billie's older brother Phineas Okonmo was already working in Hollywood music circles. He had acting credits, songwriting experience, and connections to industry executives. While they built music together in their bedrooms, their access was not the same as a struggling indie artist who has no connections. And D, the Apple Music and big tech early involvement. By the time Billie was 16, she had an Apple Music documentary in the works. Apple was actively pushing her as their next big artist, giving her early playlisting, prime editorial spots, and premium promotional treatment. Most organic indie artists don't get billion-dollar corporations backing them that fast. And E, the I'm different but fully marketed persona. Billie was presented as the anti-pop pop star.
I think of myself as like the Babadook. Like I almost like relate to it.
But she was playing the game with major backing. Her image felt rebellious and DIY, but her rollout was polished, well-funded, and executed at an elite industry level. Fans started questioning if she's really so anti-industry. Why is she being pushed harder than any other artist? This only hurt the financial potential of her billion-dollar brand, especially when transitioning into Billie 2.0, the Hollywood bombshell era. From hiding in neon baggy sweats to a soft blonde Billie in corsets on Vogue covers,
I want to pretend to be a girl for a second.
this wasn't a subtle shift, it was a total rebrand in both her visual brand and her music style. And wow, did it create some media shock value. But this is also a strategic and risque business move. Why? A, she wanted creative control. You can't evolve as an artist if people only see you one way. B, she was definitely defying expectations. Everyone thought they knew what Billie Eilish was, and she pulled the rug out from under them. It was the antithesis to her anti-trend trend. But did she escape her own sad girl trap? From the business angle, the short-term return is multi-millions. The fashion world needed her, and she knew exactly how to capitalize on that. Just look at the high CPM industry partnerships. Instead of chasing chart success, Billie leaned into brand deals with premium players like Gucci and Nike. These luxury collaborations positioned her as an aspirational figure, not just a teenage idol. But was the long-term ROI, return on investment, worth it? Let's take a closer look at 3 data metrics. First, cultural shock value. The Vogue cover was one of the most engaged posts in Instagram history. Whether you loved it or hated it, you were talking about Billie.
The cover came out and they were like, oh my God, Billie, I had no idea you were hot. And I was like, girl.
But, the flip side of this is brand confusion. Some fans felt like the new image clashed with her original anti-pop stance. Remember, the entire brand of mystique and disruption that positioned her as a billion-dollar gem. She's no longer the industry disruptor. She's part of the system now. Was this empowerment, or was she giving into the industry pressure she originally rejected? What happened to the anti-male gaze? And yes, at this time Billie was only 19, so not even a full adult yet. And the controversies spread like wildfire. Quote, my sister thinks Billie is playing into sexist, toxic, objectifying Hollywood culture, and that doing the Vogue spread contributes to people further sexualizing women's bodies. Quote, her whole shtick was, I'm not like the other girls, yet she did the very thing she was criticized. While I don't think it's anybody's business in how she chooses to show her body, the sudden rebrand was a bold test. Just like Doja Cat shaving her hair off, or JoJo Siwa suddenly burning the pink bowls and took the black ones. In Doja's case, it led to taking the song to Billboard #1, and she capitalized that media attention. But for JoJo, well, she got the views, but the like to dislike ratio makes it questionable whether she can sustain it as a brand without 90% of her original audience. It's not too helpful to Billie that sparks of queer baiting allegations also began this time. The Lost Cause music video had a flirtatious energy between her and a group of women, while she later posted the behind-the-scenes photos from the shoot with the caption, quote, I love girls. But some fans felt the queer-coded visuals were performative. From the marketing standpoint, I definitely see it as an effective strategy to expand the market. It also gets people curious and talking about her. But queerbaiting or not, I really don't think she owes anybody a clear explanation. And as a human, she's allowed to change.
When that came out, all the women were like, we love her.
I know.
How did that reception feel? Has your mind changed a little bit?
I'm still scared of them, but I think they're pretty.
Female artists, especially in pop, often face hyper scrutiny over their sexual identities. In contrast, male artists don't face the exact same pressure to really prove their queerness or clarify speculation. Harry Styles is loved just the same. But a brand so young and unproblematic is starting to lose some trust in fans, which is always the killer, regardless if the brand is $50 million or $1 billion. And this is very interesting through factor 2. Niche to mainstream. The ultra-dark, moody Billie began as niche, but the old Hollywood, sultry, more mainstream Billie, she suddenly had the attention of a whole new demographic. Could it be a strategic business move to shift from oversized skater fits to old Hollywood glam that could attract an older, higher spending audience? The same consumer segment that drives engagement for brands like Chanel and Cartier? Maybe, but is it worth trading that with some of her original fans who were supporting the not so commercialized her? Well, on one hand, this definitely received quite a bit of drawbacks. There was a bit of a musical identity crisis. Happier Than Ever was good, but it wasn't groundbreaking. It lacked the shock factor that made her a global force in 2019. I personally love the album. It has a softer touch that parallels the softening of the edges of an angsty teen growing into womanhood. But because of the lack of shock factor in music, despite a very reverse shocking visual, from niche back to mainstream beauty, there was a decline in engagement. Don't get me wrong, numbers are still very high, but the conversation around her weren't as electric. I still think it's a beautiful album, and sure, testing can be costly to any brand, but it is necessary to build the future earning potential of a brand. But do not let that distract you from the biggest branding problem when the core brand identity is revolved around being a disruptor. How much longer can the brand stay alive by becoming a quote-unquote expected mainstream artist lost in the crowd? And the even bigger question is, how many times can you disrupt an industry in before contradicting yourself and step on your own brand? Which is exactly the ticking time bomb for Billie Eilish, leading to her ultimate branding crisis. And no, disruption is an insanely powerful starting engine, but it's not a sustainable branding strategy. Even Apple, Uber, the Beatles that changed culture are now the legacy, the norm. Therefore, if Billie Eilish has to only depend on disrupting music and fully realizing the remaining $950 million brand value, good luck. Which is why the third factor might save her business. Because while streaming revenue went down, guess what went up? Third, IP revenue. Yes, her team did a really great job in creating a licensing ecosystem. From fragrance lines to sustainable fashion collaborations, Billie started leveraging her IP to build long-term revenue streams, reducing dependence on music as her sole income driver. This is something I do believe she could double down on. Notice how I said could. There's a caveat I will explain later on. But out of all musicians who built a billion-dollar brand, only one, yes, one person became a billionaire through music. And that is Taylor Swift from touring. Why is it not the most sustainable path to build a long-term profitable brand? Well, remember how Billie Eilish made $131 million on a single tour, but it's only worth $50 million? Yep, this is where it gets very granular. $131 million is gross sales and ticket. What ends up in the pocket might actually shock you. Because first off, the ticket vendors get a cut, then the venue, and then you have travel, staff, musician fees, incidentals, contingencies, insurance, legal, and then you gotta pay the agents, the brokers, and everyone in between. There should be more I'm missing, but you get the idea. If you look at everyone else in the billion-dollar club, Rihanna has Fenty Beauty, Selena Gomez has Rare Beauty, Ariana Grande isn't a billionaire, but sold billions of dollars of perfume, and even legends like Madonna, Beyonce, Celine Dion aren't worth billions. They are worth a lot. Like $760 million as Beyonce is goals. But when you yourself become the product, you can become very limited as a brand. All that to say, it is very important for musical artists to not only see their music as the product, but find ways to build brands around their IP, which is why Billie's partnership with Perlux to license her IP for the fragrance is such a good move to sell something beyond just t-shirts, because it aligns with this elusive and alluring universe of Billie Eilish. And this perfume was so strategically designed to resemble a lot of the silhouette in her Happier Than Ever album, as well as her Vogue cover, this hyper feminine and soft image, which is definitely way more commercial. And according to Cosmos, yes, it did sell around $60 million in revenue. Now, the strategic shift in visual brand is starting to make more sense. This feminine image, which is way more brandable, sells.
I love Billie Eilish.
The only caveat is this IP needs a mainstream appeal in order to sell. But Billie Eilish became iconic by being not mainstream. These conflicting forces need to be balanced, where if she becomes too niche and extreme like JoJo 2.0,
Hi sisters! I'm from Nebraska and I'm out here and I just won a Kids' Choice Award. Follow your dreams. Ew, good morning to every single Steven who's up in this entire little baby. How's it going today, guys? Good. I am so glad to hear that.
Gucci will probably frown a little, but if she becomes too mainstream and looks like every other trending TikTok influencer, she will lose the high value brand mystique and become a sellout to her fans, which is the quickest way to kill a brand. But this can be done in a tasteful way. A licensing collab can be done with artistic merit, rather than paying Kim Kardashian to hold a bundle of Charmin toilet paper. Billie's perfume bottle looks like a statement interior piece. It's stunning, classy, and elegant, with the scent also designed and crafted with care.
I really wanted it to feel warm. I've always been drawn to vanilla. It's like been my scent. I love woody smells. I love like a creamy, warm feeling, and I kind of wanted to add that all in one.
In other words, selling without selling out. Every collaboration she's done so far is exciting to the fans and very innovative, like the Gucci nail stickers. So the biggest question remains, how could she amplify this, and how do we make the math? What strategic branding shifts could help Billie's billion-dollar brand realize the $950 million lost value? Billie 3.0 billion-dollar era. Here's the problem, Billie Eilish has done both extremes. She went from mysterious outsider to Hollywood icon. So what's next? Hit Me Hard and Soft might be my favorite album yet. It flows so cohesively as a long story and reminds me of the dreamscape of Ilomilio, I think that's how you say it, even though it's my favorite track, in her first album, but now delivered in a more mature and raw way. And the marketing campaign at the Louvre where she fell into water, so good. But it's not something made for fast streams, where some may say the album is underperforming, especially with the alleged Taylor Swift beef.
Billie Eilish is so messy.
Counterintuitively, it is evident that she is creating music that will have a lasting impact, long-term brand building. But comparatively, the more low-key vibe of this era, including her visual brand, does not hit as hard as the Bad Guy era, where everything felt like a disruption, because like I said, over-reliance on disruption is not sustainable, and over-dependence on just building a brand based on her music is inefficient, because A, it also relies on her core identity as a disruptor, and that is fading. B, overall, touring and streaming pale in comparison to expanding a brand beyond just her personal IP. So what are some ways for her to own her industry power, keep her brand fresh, while realizing the $950 million lost value from her billion-dollar brand? 3 strategic directions. First, owning her industry power. We need to see Billie not just as an artist, not just as a muse, but the visionary, the creative executive. There is so much potential here where with her touch, more things can become gold. Producing for other artists, fashion collaborations, expanding her brand beyond just music. That's how she builds long-term influence. Focus on building a brand of authority, and maybe even a label that shapes the artistic direction for future young artists, like how Jay-Z created Roc Nation. And yes, you guessed it, Jay-Z did not become a billionaire through music alone. Music was the launch pad into his ventures that created a billion-dollar legacy. Second, on-brand shock. Whisper singing worked, old Hollywood worked. Now, we need Billie to shock us again, but with a core brand identity that doesn't contradict herself. One way to freshen up a brand is through introducing new sounds. While it makes not much sense for Billie Eilish to pick up rock and death metal, collaborations with other artists who have their own distinct styles is not only a way to broaden the audience through associations, but introduces novelty to the brand without taking too much risk, which is why Billie's Guess with Charlie XCX was such a great collaboration. It shows two it girls, completely different styles of music, completely different aesthetics, and two universes colliding that both audiences can enjoy. Third, the real test. Being an artist is super impressive, but can she turn that into a business, a brand? Because touring in between agency broker fees and high cost of having a team reduce an artist's take-home money so much. It's a highly inefficient business model to depend on, kind of like catching rain with a bucket full of holes. Hence, Billie is generating hundreds of millions per year, but can only take home a fraction. No doubt, Billie's love for music is so genuine and pure, and that's what makes her music so good. But creating good art does not conflict with creating good businesses. Creating a separate brand that can live outside of yourself is kind of like giving birth to a child, and both brands can thrive just as harmoniously and simultaneously together. I mean, just look at Hailey Bieber and Rhode, Rihanna and Fenty, the list goes on. And there are so many things that just make sense. Because of Billie's incredible talent, unique taste, and an impressive personal IP of aspiration, a sustainable streetwear line extending her blush line will sell out in minutes. I mean, if you look at how well Easy did in its limited drops, it's what made Kanye a billionaire with no contracts. And even without a controversial Super Bowl ad, whatever Billie designs and co-owns would sell, just like her signature fragrance. I don't know how much equity or revenue she owns from the licensing collaboration, but it gave her a strong market signal of how much potential there is in this market. A very low-hanging fruit would be just to extend it beyond just a few scents they already have onto her other eras. It would be so on brand and so unique, and the fans will love it, especially the fans who have been with her through the different eras. And of course, the scent can be expanded into a hair care line, because let's be real, how in the world does she keep her hair so healthy after so many color changes? But those scents could also be integrated into body wash, candles, and so on from just this one winner product. As a tastemaker and trendsetter, I can also see a world where Billie Eilish created her own music tech startup, especially with the influx of AI meshing into music. I mean, no one can really tell what will happen, so why not take control and shape that future? From the point of view of an artist, I really don't think anyone can have better ideas in music tech than Billie, given how she's always been ahead of her time and creates trends rather than follows them. With that, one thing that Billie Eilish has done extremely well is her focus on perfecting the craft and slowly building a timeless brand rather than aiming for quick virality. Because as a $50 million brand today, the foundation for $1 billion and beyond is already built, and now the fun part is how to unlock the remaining $950 million through strategic brand launches, innovation, and expansion.
I'm 15.
16.
17.
18.
19.
20.
21.
I'm 22.
From rebellious teen with the neon green roots to soft golden girl to it girl in the blues, at just 22 years old, Billie is already about to hit 10 years in the long game of brand building. And honestly, there's no better way to do it, because the only shortcut in life is taking no shortcuts. Let me know what brand you'd like me to analyze next through a marketing perspective through the email list link in the description. If you could share this episode with someone, you'd be giving them the greatest gift by helping them grow, and it's completely free to you. This is your marketing bestie, Zoe Unlimited. Episodes are available on all podcast networks, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Have an amazing and wonderful day. I'll see you next week.